Adding and subtracting positive and negative fractions. Here's a few examples. Example number 1. Let's start from the beginning. Here we have negative 3 and 1/4 plus 2 and 2/3. Let's first figure out what the sign of this problem will end up being. Let's write the integers only on the side. Forget about the fractions for a second. So negative 3 plus 2 will give me an answer of negative 1. So overall, my sign will be negative. Now, we have to decide whether we're going to add these two fractions or subtract these two fractions. It's one or the other. So let's write down just the integers here, 3 and 2. And how do we get 1 from 3 and 2? Do we add or subtract 3 and 2 to get 1? This will tell us what our major operation is. So in this case, 3 minus 2 will give us 1. So we're going to subtract these two fractions in order to get our final answer. So let's write these two fractions from greatest to least. So 3 and 1/4, 2 and 2/3. Now my major operation, as we concluded, is going to be minus, and our sign will be negative. So now we just have 3 and 1/4 minus 2 and 2/3. Again, we need a common denominator when adding and subtracting fractions, which will be 12. Multiply my first fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 3, and multiply my second fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 4. Here we have to borrow from the 3, cross them out, make 1 2, and add 12 to our numerator, yielding 2 and 15/12 minus 2 and 8/12. Fractions first, 15 minus 8, I get an answer of 7 over 12. 2 minus 2 is 0, and my answer is negative. Please do not forget your negative sign. If we look at this area we just boxed in, we add 12 to 3 because our common denominator is 12. Let's take a look at another example. Example number 2. Negative 2 and 1/5 minus 3 and 2/7. Again, I'm just going to write the integers on the sides so I can figure out what my sign will be and what my major operation will be. So negative 2 minus 3, I get an answer of negative 5. So my overall answer to this problem will be negative. Now I have to figure out what am I doing with these two fractions. Am I adding or subtracting? So let's write these in order. 3 and 2 equals 5. How do I get 5 from 3 and 2? Again, you have to ask yourself, am I going to add these two numbers or subtract these two numbers? Well, very easily we can see 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So the major operation here is going to be addition. So let's again write our fractions in order from greatest to least. So 3 and 2/7, 2 and 1/5. And again, the major operation here is going to be addition, and the sign will be negative. Again, common denominator, 7 times 5, multiplying both denominators is 35. So 3 and multiplying the first fraction both by numerator and denominator by 5, getting 10 over 35. Multiplying the second fraction, numerator and denominator, by 7, yielding 7 over 35. Fractions first, 10 plus 7, 17 over 35. 3 plus 2 is 5. And again, do not forget your negative sign, yielding negative 5 and 17/35. Let's look at another example. Example number 3. Here we have 5 and 1/4 minus 7 and 1/3. Okay, first step, let's figure out what our sign is going to be. Let's take our integers, 5 minus 7. We're going to answer of negative 2. Second step, let's take 7 and 5, put them next to each other, and decide how we will get 2. So are we going to add or subtract? In this case, we're going to subtract. 7 minus 5 to get an answer of 2. So our major operation here will be subtraction. Writing our fractions in order from greatest to least. 7 and 1/3, 5 and 1/4. 7 and 1/3 minus 5 and 1/4, yielding me an answer will be negative. Common denominator here will be 12. Simply multiplying our denominators together will get as a nice shortcut. 3 times 4 is 12. Multiply your first fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 4. Your second fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 3. Fractions first. 4 minus 3, I get 1 over 12. 7 minus 5, I get 2, and my answer is negative 2. And one final example. Example number 4. negative 2 and 4/5 minus negative 3 and 1/3. Before starting, we should notice that we have two negative signs right next to each other. So let's rewrite this and correct that first. So negative 2 and 4/5, two negatives yield a positive, plus 3 and 1/3. Now let's attack this problem as we attack the rest. So let's write negative 2 plus 3 on the side. Negative 2 plus 3 will give me a positive 1. My sign to this problem will be positive. Now let's figure out what our major operation is going to be. Writing 3 and 2 next to each other, how do we get 1 from 3 and 2? Here we notice we have to subtract. So our major operation will be subtraction. So let's write our fractions from greatest to least. 3 and 1/3 minus 2 and 4/5, and my answer will be positive. Common denominator here is going to be 15, multiplying 3 and 5 together. Nice easy shortcut. Multiply my first fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 5. Second fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 3. Yielding 3 and 5/15 minus 2 and 12/15. Again, we have to borrow from the 3, cross them out, make them a 2, and add 15 to the 5, which now gives me 2 and 20/15 minus 2 and 12/15. Again, we're going to subtract fractions first. 20 minus 12, we get 8 over 15. Since my sign is positive, I am done. Hope this helps. See you in class tomorrow.